So guys, what we're going to talk about today is one of the best glute hamstring workers, if you want to say, or exercises, I should say, which I think is really, really underrated and doesn't get performed enough in the gym. And that's the 45-degree back extension, hip extension, however you want to describe it. This machine's fantastic because we can provide a lot of stability via foot placement here, pad, so we can deliver a lot more force to targeted areas where we don't have to manage as much, which what we might have to do when it comes to some kind of hip hinge variation like RDL, SLDL. With that being said, we might be able to handle less load, but again, we can be more directed where we're applying that force, which in my opinion is one of the greatest things when it comes to this exercise. Again, we've got a quad pad here in which we can drive our quads into, which is then going to give us a bracing element of things, which then means we can direct a lot more of that force to the glutes themselves. Now, when it comes to actually how we're going to more target the glutes within this exercise, slight bit of knee flexion, and then when we're going at the bottom of the rep, which you'll be seeing, and I'll be talking through this as I'm performing the rep, we want to have a little bit of external rotation. This little bit of external rotation is going to help get that glute a little bit shorter at the top. So we're not actually going to be externally rotating as we perform the exercise because our foot is going to be right against the platform underneath me here, but we're going to have that intent of externally rotating. Also, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our lumbar, so our lower back, isn't flexing or extending. So we're going to keep a neutral spine. And then when we're at the bottom of the rep, what we're going to make sure we're doing as well is initiating by driving our quads into the pad. We're not going to initiating by lifting our chest up. If we initiate by lifting our chest up, that means we're going to work our erectors a lot more than what we want within this exercise. So I'm just going to do a few reps now, and then on the other side of the screen, you'll be seeing me talk through my working set and what I'm actually going to be going through when I'm actually doing the set and what I'm thinking of when I'm going through the set. So when it comes to the height of this, what we want to make sure is we're setting it up just above hip height, so just below hip height, so we can really extend over it again, but we're still having that bracing element. So again, you can see here, my hips are slightly above it. And quads are driving into the pad. I'm initiating with a little bit of external rotation and then contracting all the way to the top. But when you can see at the bottom here, I initiate by driving into the pad here, not lifting up from the upper back. So from here, I drive into the pad, externally rotate, drive all the way up. And we're just going to get an unbelievable contraction within our glutes, hamstrings with this exercise. So I'm going to leave it over to me now on the other side of the screen. We're going to start reviewing my working set. So guys, what I'm going to go through here is like what I do on the 45-degree hip extension, the thought process I have when it comes to this exercise. And what I will be saying throughout this video is this is one of the key movements I think for really getting the most out of your posterior chain. I think it's something that's underused an awful amount, and people go to hip hinges quite quickly, but when we've got to use an exercise like this, or we've got an ability to use an exercise like this, I think it's really important. So what I'm really thinking of here is really drive my quads into the pad before I come up. Now the reason why I'm thinking of this is I really want to make sure I'm using the quads to brace into for that stability element, I think, and really exert the force into the posteriors of my glutes and hamstring in this case. I'm also thinking about externally rotating at the bottom. So I'm really thinking about screwing my feet into the ground, which is just going to give me that internal cue to bias my glutes a little bit more. You can also see I am controlling the load the whole way, which is really important. I am not letting the load dictate me. I am pausing at both ends, and you can see I'm coming all the way to the top and having a good contraction all the way to the top as well. Key thing as well is making sure we have a neutral spine, so that spine is staying nice and flat the whole way through, and we're not just yanking it up with our upper back, which is something where a lot of people go wrong.